Alright, Shalom, Hebrews. It's a message from the Israelite Brotherhood. I want to show you, Hebrews, the power of the Babylonian Scribes. The power of the Babylonian Scribes. The people who we abandon our heritage to, and how they done took, the Jew, the word Jew is kind of like associated with the Canaanites, because the people who are Canaanites are Jews. And I'm gonna prove this. And I wanna show the power of the Babylonian Scribes and how they still got their power to switch words up and to change things around and stuff. And these Babylonian Scribes that we abandon our heritage to are still practicing their old trade. And basically they run the whole Western civilization. They run the whole Western civilization. And these folks we abandon our heritage to, and they are Amorites. And the Amorites are the Babylonian Scribes that was placed in our land when we was on Egyptian religion. You see what I'm saying? When we was slipping on Egyptian religion, a whole lot went down. A whole lot of nations made they move to get in our land. And I'm going to show this. And it's like that word, I was looking at that word Jew and how they done associated that word Jew, the word Jew, with Israelites. And people think that Jew and Israel are the same thing. You know what I'm saying? And now they even starting to say that the Israelites are Canaanites. You see what I'm saying? That's awful. You see what I'm saying? And the reason that they able to say that is because we abandon our heritage to the Jews, to the Sephardic groups. And it was Ashkenazi under the name Scythian that chased us into Africa. So really both of the groups kind of like, had their hand in, us, getting up off the promised land, because the people who chased us into Africa, the Babylonians were a combination of Amorites and Ashkenazi. It's just that Ashkenazi, the Scythians, made up the army and stuff. Okay, if you look at what these folks got for the word Jew and how they try to associate the Israelites with the Canaanites now, saying that the Israelites is a subculture of the Canaanites, and that the Israelites and the Canaanites are one and the same. See, if you see, the Israelites are an outgrowth of these Canaanites. You know what I'm saying? All right, the Israelites as an outgrowth of the Canaanite population. You know what I'm saying? They say that the Israelites were an outgrowth of the Canaanite population, which is evil, which is real evil. Man, I'm talking about, y'all just don't know how evil that is, but that's the power of the Babylonian Scribes, the people who we abandon our heritage to. They are Canaanites. You see what I'm saying? The Sephardi people whose real name is Sephardim, they are Canaanites. You see what I'm saying? They are Canaanites. And the Canaanites, the Amorites, are the founders of Babylon. And I'm going to show this. And I'm going to show how these people was placed in our land. You know what I'm saying? That's like them going to be the same people that's going to be kin to the Amalekites. And those going to be the people that during the Babylonian captivity, when the exiles was taken to Babylon, and when they tried to destroy us on the 13th, you know what I'm saying, the 13th of one of the months, they had set, a decree to get rid of all the exiles. And it was on the 13th, and how we switched that around in the book of Esther. I'm going to try to cover that, but I might have to make a separate video for that. So, if I don't cover it, be on the lookout for it. It's coming. All right. Those Babylonian Scribes. off. You know what I'm saying? They done took the title Israel and then associated with the Canaanites and say that they one and the same people, which is a lie. Because if you look into not history, if you look in the Bible, it's gonna show you. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna show you that the Israelites and the Canaanites are two different people, because it wouldn't make no sense for the Creator to send the Canaanites in to destroy themselves. You see what I'm saying? That ain't even making sense. But like I say, we abandoned our heritage to some Babylonian scribes, some people that's responsible for the whole history of Babylon, for all its history. They are the founders and the scribes for all the gods. Murdoch, Norjab, Nebo. You know, Nebo was one of their main gods, because it's the god that's the god of scribing and writing and stuff. Man, there's a whole lot going on. There's a whole lot going on, Hebrews, but this is what they've been trying to do, and this is what they've been getting away with for a long time. You know what I'm saying? If you go to Deuteronomy 7, and this is to show that the Israelites, our people, are not the Canaanites. You see what I'm saying? All right. If you go to Deuteronomy 27, when the Elohim thy Yah shall bring thee into the land, whether thou goest to possess it, and thou hast cast out many nations before thee, the Hittites, the Girgashites, and the Amorites. You see that? Amorites, and the Canaanites, and the Perizzites, and the Havites, and the Jebusites, 7 nations greater and mightier than thou. And when the Elohim thy Yah shall deliver them before thee, thou shalt smite them and utterly destroy them. Thou shalt make no covenant with them, nor show mercy unto them. You see what I'm saying? And that's what we were supposed to have did when we came out of Egypt. You know, but like I show in all the other videos, how the Egyptians put they religion on us. You know what I'm saying? They snuck they people among us that would rise up and influence us on worshiping the golden calf. You know what I'm saying? That represent about 5 or 6 Egyptian religion. But, you know, I want to show that the Israelites are not the Canaanites. And if any fool believe that, you know, the only people that's going to believe that is the people that want to believe that the Jews, the people who we abandon our heritage to, that they want to believe that they the chosen people because it benefit them because they all look alike. You see what I'm saying? See, what people don't know is that the true Israelites ran into Africa. The 99% ran into Africa during the Babylonian Wars. You know what I'm saying? And I got videos explaining that too in detail. Okay, so we know that the Canaanites, that the Israelites could not be Canaanites because the Creator sent the Israelites to come out of Egypt that sojourned there for 400 years and sent us out to destroy the Canaanite culture. You see, we were supposed to make no league with them and fool with them none at all. You see, and basically the Amorites represent the mixed people. You know, the people because they had lost their pigmentation, and it's also noted that Canaan kids was born with Tazarate, and that not only that they did not have no pigmentation, is that they also mixed with the Nephilims and the Rephilims, Cain descendants, and that they mix with them, and you know, that's who they are. And they will mix with other African Hamite related people to retain some form of pigmentation. That's what they call the olive skin peoples, but we know that olives are either green or black. Well, you know, that's them just trying to say that they got a little pigmentation. Okay, well, those people come from Babylon. The Amorites did, you know, under the name Sepharvaim. They was placed in the promised land when we were slipping on Egyptian religion during our Assyrian troubles, when we was having trouble with Assyria and they took the northern army, the three tribes, Reuben, Gad, and the half tribe Manasseh, the fighters. They took them men away, the Assyrians did, and then that allowed for the Sephardims to be placed in Samaria, and they would stay in Samaria the whole time till we ran into Africa during the Babylonian wars, because like I said, the Egyptians from the beginning had planted their religion on us in its surface. That's like before King Josiah was born, the prophecy king who cleaned the Egyptian religion up. We was on Egyptian religion for 300 years, going all the way back to Solomon's death. And I got videos showing how Solomon was a wicked king and how he wasn't no righteous king in the last part of his days, and how he let them other women turn him out, and that brung our whole kingdom down. We never did recover nothing but one time for 31 years, and that's when King Josiah was born, and he cleaned up the whole northern kingdom and the southern kingdom. And that's why it's real important to read his history and King Hezekiah history, his great grandfather, because that's the king that showed that it was no 10 lost tribes, and that how the people that we abandoned our heritage to created myths. And there's a lot of Hebrews, matter of fact the majority of the Hebrews, if not all the Hebrews, be teaching the Jewish myths and the Jewish history that these Babylonian scribes created. Them gonna be the same people who them took that word Jew. Them gonna be the same people who took their word Jew and then associated with the Israelites by saying that the tribe of Judah and that Jew come from that. And we know that that's falsehood. That's like in the book of Esther. If you read the book of Esther, you will see that they got the word Jew so many times they not gonna let you forget the word Jew in the book of Esther. Guess why? Because the book of Esther is when they plan didn't work on us, and how they tried to destroy them. Them people tried to destroy the Agagites. The Agagites were Amalekites, and the Amalekites, Moabites, through Esau. Edom is going to be the main branch that absorbed all those little tribes, and the Amorites and Esau became the same people, and they kind of like merged. And the scriptures give you this history too. It give you this history. That's like if you go to Genesis 36:2. I'm going to try to stay on topic, but it's a lot of history dealing with these Babylonian scribes, and it's kind of impossible to get all their history down in a little short time. But if you keep watching these videos and keep learning this history, then it's going to grow on you, and you're going to know all of a sudden. You see what I'm saying? So it don't just come all down on you at one time. You got to keep watching this history and watching this history that I'm putting out, and then you'll start to understand. You ain't gonna get this history from them other groups, because them other groups are teaching the myths that these people put out. All praise be Almighty. Alright. If you go to Genesis, I think it's Genesis 36:12, you'll see that Timnah had got with Eliphaz, and Timnah gonna be a Horite. The Horites are gonna be the Nephilims and the Rephilim descendants. Them gonna be they people going back to Cain. You know what I'm saying? They ain't got no genealogy with Noah's sons. Alright. And Noah's grandsons. Alright. And Timnah was a concubine to Eliphaz, Esau's son, and she bore to him Eliphaz, Amalek. And she bore to Eliphaz Amalek. So Edom's son Eliphaz had a son named Amalek. Alright, so Amalek. Alright, now let's see Genesis 14:7. I got that down for a reason. Alright, so this showing that the Amalekites were associated, the Amalekites is associated with the Amorites too. And they returned and came to En Misphah, which is Kadesh, and smote all the country of the Amalekites, and also the Amorites that dwelt in Hazron Tamar. And there went out the king of Sodom and the king of Gomorrah. See, all them was kicking it partners. People from Sodom and Gomorrah, and the Amalekites with the Amorites. You know what I'm saying? And Sodom and Gomorrah is an Amorite created nation. So, you know, we know that them Amalekites got an association with the Amorites. And that them folks lived in, them folks gonna live in Sir also. Alright, let me see what Genesis. Let's see what Genesis. No, let's go to Numbers. There's some history and numbers on them too. Alright, Exodus. Yeah, the Babylonian Scribes code, and they responsible for the whole Western history. The whole Western history they responsible for. The whole Western history. All the words in this whole history in the West. They the founders of it. And matter of fact, Amorite means Westerner. It means Westerner. So them Amorites created this whole history. And then if we abandon our history to them, you know they gonna merge themselves into our history, especially if we go into Africa to say we're gonna do the Egyptian religion, then you know that they gonna take over our heritage and say that they the Israelites, especially if we run off to do some Egyptian religion. And I can show that we did the Egyptian religion and was messed up with the Egyptian culture from day one, from the time that we set foot in Egypt. Alright, so when you get to, alright, this gonna be Balak and Balaam and that Amalekite. Alright, he shall pour the water out his buckets, and his seed shall be in many waters, and his king shall be higher than Agag. Alright, Agag is gonna be that Agagite in the book of Esther that tried to get, you know, his people and everybody to destroy us when he found out that we was the Israelites and we was the people of the captivity, and that Malachi didn't bow down to him. When he come around, then he wanted to destroy all of us. And just so happened that Vishta lady, the queen before the sister Esther come on the throne, how she didn't want to come out to the king. He was trying to show how pretty she was, and they ain't want to, she didn't want to come out. So the king, you know, chose him another woman, and then chose Esther. And then how Esther foiled they plan and stuff. And them gonna be the same people that we abandon our heritage to, because they became one, because the Amalekites through the Edomites, you know, they wasn't nothing but Edomites too, and how that they was part of the Amorites, and the Amorites gonna be the people that we abandon our heritage to. That's why come all them people in the promised land now saying that they Hebrews, because we was driven out the land. Alright, so this show that they got Agag. You know, if you ever look in Esther, you'll see, you know what I'm saying, that Agag come from the Agagites come from Agag. You know what I'm saying? They king. You know what I'm saying? And they lost their kingdom, and they had to roam around and mate with the Edomites and the Amorites, and that's how they got absorbed. But they tried to destroy us in the book of Esther, and then that's where the number 13 come from, because they tried to do it on the 13th day, but we flipped it and did them on the 13th day. And the book of Esther was wrote a time that our that we was going through the Babylonian exile with that 10%. All right, so I done, basically covered that whole Esther history that quick. All right, so now let's get to the Amorites and how that they were set in our land, them Sephardi's. If you go to 2 Kings chapter 17 verse 24, you'll see that name Sephardim. And the king of Assyria brought men from Babylon and from Cuth and from Ava and from Hamath and from Sepharvaim and placed them in the cities of Samaria instead of the children of Israel. And they possessed Samaria and dwelt in the cities thereof. Okay, it's a known fact that the Sepharvaims come from Sipper, and I'm gonna show you Hebrews how slick they is when they name it. Now Sipper is the twin city of Nippur. Those the twin cities that one held the archives and the other one held the library. And matter of fact, you couldn't become a king, man, unless you had it done in Nippur. But Sipper was part of it, and that's the Sepharvaim's name, Sipper. See, they be trying to hide that in history, because if you knew that the Sephardi Jews, because there's only two set of Jews, Ashkenazi and the Sephardis, and if you knew that them two set of Jews, the Sephardis wasn't the Hebrews, then you know what I'm saying, that's gonna make everything go back, you know what I'm saying, and they gonna have to go back and do some explaining. And they can't explain their way out of this one, because we coming into our heritage, and we ain't finna let this go, and we ain't gonna let this slide, and they ain't finna be able to create no secondary history to try to cover this up, because we know that they Babylonian scribes, and you can't believe nothing they say. You can't believe nothing they say and nothing that they write. That's why it's important, Hebrews, to get your history from a trusted source, because if you not, 9 out of 10 your history and your thoughts gonna fall in their hands. You see what I'm saying? Because they create all the myths, all the lies, and a lot of Hebrews don't know how to weave themselves through the myths and lies, because they don't know who the Sephardi's are, or who the Babylonian scribes is. Most Hebrews, this is the first time that they didn't ever heard of a Babylonian scribe, and don't know nothing about what that is. But those are the people that we abandon our heritage to. Those are the people we abandon our heritage to for Egyptian religion. And they was placed in Samaria, and as you read, you'll see that they was trying to do what the people was doing in Samaria. They tried to, they was doing our heritage and the things we was doing, as well as mixing it with what they originally came with from Babylon. So if you go to 2 Kings 17 and you read all the way down to 32, so they feared the Elohim and made unto themselves the lowest of them priests of the high places, which sacrificed for them in the houses of the high places. They feared the Elohim and served their own gods after the manner of the nations whom they carried away from thence. You see, but guess what? King Josiah will come clean it up. King Josiah will come clean up the Egyptian religion and that old stuff, what they had going on, and made everybody in the land submit to the Creator. It's the only time that the land basically being clear of Egyptian and Amorite culture and religions, what I mean, since King David. You see what I'm saying? So King Josiah was the man, and they would slick trying to tarnish him. That's like the number 13 is not bad, because if you look at the number 13 and then you look at the 13th chapter of 1 Kings, you're going to see how it was a prophecy for King Josiah to come out. So that's why come also that the number 13 is bad. And then if you go to Leviticus chapter 13, it tell you about the Tazarite people, the people that had leprosy. You see what I'm saying? And how some of them was all white, but they was clean. And that's going to be the way that them folks fell in. You know what I'm saying? In a sense. All right. So, all right, let's look at 13. All right. If you look at 13 of 1 Kings, And behold, there came a man of Yah out of Judah by the word of the Elohim unto Bethel, and Jeroboam stood by the altar to burn incense, and he cried against the altar in the word of the Elohim, and said, O altar, altar, this saith the Elohim, behold, a child shall be born unto the house of David, Josiah by name, and upon thee shall he offer the priests of the high places that burn incense upon thee, and men's bones shall he burnt upon thee. Okay, 300 years we was waiting on King Josiah, and then he come about. So, you know what I'm saying? He was born around about 631 BC, but we was on Egyptian religion for 300 years till he was born. And during that time, while we was on the Egyptian religion, from Jeroboam bringing that stuff out of Egypt, you know, because Solomon had chased Jeroboam into Egypt, and Jeroboam was from the tribe of Ephraim, and you know that the tribe of Ephraim was mixed with Egyptian. You see what I'm saying? So look at this right here. Let's try to lay some trail, and then all this gonna lead back to those Sephardims working with them other Hamites, because the Sephardims, even though they ain't got no pigmentation, or they mixed and all mingled and mixed, they still gonna be part of that Hamite family group. You see what I'm saying? Being that Canaan descendants and his children are still Hamites, so they gonna work together. And you can see this being done when Solomon, who had an Egyptian wife, we was messed up right there. You know, that messed us up big time. And then him chasing Jeroboam into Egypt, in the tribe of Ephraim were mixed with the Egyptians, because when Joseph answered Pharaoh's dream, and Pharaoh see that his priests and his magicians couldn't do it, and that Joseph was dealing with the real creator, he gonna get him the priest's daughter. You see what I'm saying? And then the priest's daughter, that ain't no good thing. They gonna have two kids, Manasseh and Ephraim. And the tribe of Ephraim was wicked throughout the whole New Testament. That's basically where all our troubles come from, the tribe of Ephraim. Well, that's gonna start when Pharaoh gave Joseph Asenath, and she had them two sons, and then Joseph out taking care of the business. Then the priest gonna educate his grandkids, and then I can show that them Egyptians left with us. The Egyptians left with us, Exodus with us, and when Moses go up to get the law, then them Egyptians gonna influence us to come out with the golden calves. Ain't nothing but the queen of heaven. It's about 5 religions, Is, Horus, all that old mess combined. But the golden calf represented, like the cross represent, a whole different bunch of cliques of Christianity, where that golden calf represent a whole bunch of different religions of Egypt. And we threw that stuff up when Moses, you know, was gone to get the law. And the law that we was getting was a new culture that was anti-Egyptian and anti-Babylonian. You see what I'm saying? It was anti-Amorite. And, you know, I just read how the Creator told us to destroy them. But if you look and see that if we had that covenant and we did that law, and then we stayed right there, men in the promised land, like we were supposed to, and then we stayed there, Egypt, that would have been the death for Egypt, because Egypt couldn't come across the promised land long as we was doing the covenant, and they knew that. And Egypt couldn't come across the promised land to do trade with the people in Mesopotamia. And I got all kind of history showing that Egypt had a trade and commerce going on. And you know what I'm saying? That's like when we was enslaved in Egypt, we was basically, you know, they had us making bricks. You know, Egypt had a brick industry going on, and Egypt had their whole cities and everything redid when they held us in captivity. Okay, but look here how Jeroboam was of the tribe of Ephraim. If you look at 1 Kings chapter 11, verse 26, and Jeroboam the son of Nebat, an Ephrathite, those are Ephraimites, of Zerudah, Solomon's servant, whose mother name was Zurah, a widow woman, even he lifted up his hand against the king, you know. And Solomon sought therefore to kill Jeroboam, and Jeroboam arose and fled into Egypt unto Shawshan, unto Shishai, king of Egypt, and was in Egypt until the death of Solomon. You see what I'm saying? So, he basically went to his relatives, because if you go to Genesis, that's going to be Genesis 41. Turn right to it. All praise be Almighty, y'all. You seen that. Turn right to it. I like when I do that. All right, and Pharaoh called Joseph's name Zaphaniah-Paneah, and gave him to wife Asenath, the daughter of Potipharah, priest of On. And Joseph went out over all the land of Egypt. And also that obelisk that they got in New York, you know what I'm saying, we was enslaved with under that, because after this Pharaoh died, that was from the west side of the now the Mishwish tribes, like, the people from the Sahara that, ruled Upper Egypt, Lower Egypt, was on the throne. And then the west side, the east side of the Nile, gonna be that Nubian, Sudan, Ethiopian like stock. When they come on power, that's when we went into slavery and stuff into Egypt and had to make them bricks. But each pharaoh would look out for the other one, and they was all working together. You see what I'm saying? So it didn't make a difference which one. And then the Pharaoh institution didn't believe in the creator. They didn't believe in the creator. And I can show that too. I got a bunch of videos showing how Pharaoh didn't believe in the creator by chanting down them brothers that be trying to push that wicked Egyptian history and culture on us. All right. So we see that Joseph was given Pharaoh's Pharaoh gave Joseph the priest of On's daughter, and unto Joseph were born 2 sons before the years of famine came, which Asenath, the daughter of Potipharah, priest of On, born to him. And Joseph called the name of the firstborn Manasseh, for Yah said, he had made me forget all my toil and all my father's house. And the name of the second called he Ephraim, for Yah had caused me to be fruitful in the land of my affliction. So yeah, Pharaoh probably gonna be hooking him up. He done had one, the youngest one, and then the priest, when Joseph gone, the priest gonna be saying, this is the way that you're supposed to worship, because we know when we come into Egypt with our father Jacob that we didn't worship no Egyptian culture. We didn't believe in none of their gods. We didn't believe in the Egyptians' God, because we followed our father Jacob. You see what I'm saying? And when we came to Egypt, we had already been worshiping the Creator, Almighty Yah. But, that changed, and them Egyptians tricked us. They tricked us. All right. If you go to Exodus, I think that's gonna be Exodus 12. Exodus 12:38. And this is when, them Egyptians left with us. Joseph and them relatives and people cool with them. And a mixed multitude went up also with them, flocks, herds, and even very much cattle. Those gonna be the cattle worshippers, the half of the cow worshippers. The Sahara was full of them, and that's where it come from. And them folks left with us. Those Sahara people from the Sahara, them cattle worshippers. And they had cattle, and we was down with the cattle too, because our father Jacob had livestock and raised livestock, as well as our father Abraham. That's what made them rich. So them people gonna get down with us, but they was a threat and a danger to us, and we didn't know it. All right, if you go to that's gonna be Exodus 34 with the prophet Moses. Let's see. All right, 32. And when the people saw that Moses delayed to come down out of the mount, the people gathered themselves together unto Aaron and said unto him, Up and make us gods, which shall go before us. For as this Moses, the man that brought us up out of the land of Egypt, we know not what is become of him. And Aaron got their little stuff, and he received them at their hand and fashioned a tool after he had made it a molten calf. And they said, These be the gods, O Israel, which brought thee up out of the land of Egypt. That's messed up. So that's going to be them Egyptians leaving with us. And then we know that Jeroboam, after Solomon's death, that he gonna bring them two golden calves out on us. You see what I'm saying? So we will be slipping on Egyptian religion all the way up to them Canaanites, them Canaanite Amorites, come back to get control of their land. You know, because the people who we abandon our heritage to, the Sephardims, the Sephardims, they from Babylon. And Babylon was an Amorite created culture, and them people being placed in our land and us not making no big scene is because they was the same people that was there already that we didn't drive out in the book of Judges. And when Joshua passed away, we fell off. Like when Moses passed away, we, you know what I'm saying, we didn't get a chance to fall off too bad because Joshua was there. But then after he passed away, we fell off around about 375 BC, and we was enslaved and tore up for about 275 years, all the way up to Prophet Samuel. Samuel was born, and then Samuel, Saul, and King David. We only do about 130 years of following the law, and then Solomon come on with that Egyptian religion after he chased Jeroboam into Egypt. Man, and then we was on that Egyptian religion, and that's when them folks was placed in our land. So they always come get us when we slipping up off the covenant. That's when everybody come get us. That's like now they been having a party off us because we don't know what's going on. We don't know who our enemies is. We don't know who the people that caused all these troubles is. We don't know nothing. We just moving along, and that's one of the reasons why the Creator gonna pluck us and save us from this situation. All right, this is Jeroboam. You know, he come out of Egypt with the two golden calves. This gonna be 12:28. Whereupon the king took counsel and made two calves of gold and said unto them, it is too much for you to go up to Jerusalem. Behold thy gods, O Israel, which brought thee up out of the land of Egypt. See, that's because Solomon was slipping and lost the kingdom, and the kingdom split. And you know, 10 tribes was the northern tribe, and then, you know, Judah and Benjamin, the southern tribe. But we basically moved everywhere. You know what I'm saying? All right. So then we know that the King Josiah, the prophecy for him to come clean it up, you know, came about that time. And then we waited on him for 300 years. 300 years till he was born. And then that's going to be Chronicles, 2nd Chronicles, chapter 34. All right. So we see that them Sephardims got placed in our land. Those Sephardi Jews around about this time when we was on the Egyptian religion. When we was on the Egyptian religion, and then them people gonna get placed in our land. That was really like a slick little dirty move, you know. And them people being placed there, and then when we say that we was through with the covenant, because if you read the whole history from King Josiah cleaning up the whole Israel, he cleaned up the whole Israel just like that prophecy has said, and we waited on him for 300 years, and then out of the 300 years, he was like the Messiah, the Savior, and them Jews, those Sephardims, those Sephardi's knew about that, and they would take all the prophecies from him, from the other prophecies, prophets prophesizing that he was gonna come, and he was from the seed of David, and they turned that into a Messiah. You know, I already said that they was Babylonian scribes. They was already scribes from Babylon. They're responsible for Babylon's whole history. They're responsible for Babylon's whole history in this whole Western society they control. They develop all the writings, you know what I'm saying? They the untouchables in the West. That's why it's going to take the Creator to bring them down, because they the untouchables. They created the whole West, and we enslaved in their system. You see, when they come got us from Africa and brought us over here, they knew who they was bringing over here, and they put that Egyptian culture on us to keep us astray. All right, so, you know, you see them people placed in our land, and they tried to do what they tried to do. But then if you get over to 2nd Chronicles 30, Second Chronicles 34, you're going to see that King Josiah was born. And it's going to be dreadful to all them. Matter of fact, it had to be dreadful to the whole Israel, because now here he born, and it was a miracle that he come on the throne, because he was a little bitty baby. They killed his father. You know what I'm saying? His father got killed. And then, they could have made anybody king. But the people chose him, a little bitty baby. And then he come on the throne, and he fulfilled all those prophecies. And then the prophet Jeremiah would come on, doing his reign too, which showed that the tribes of Israel was there. Just like I just did a video showing that it was no 10 lost tribes. All right. Josiah was 8 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned in Jerusalem 31 years, and he did that which was right in the sight of the Elohim, and walked in the ways of David his father, and declined neither to the right hand nor to the left. Now, we've been waiting on him for 300 years, and here he comes. For in the 8th year of his reign, while he was yet young, he began to seek after the Elohim of David, his father. In the 12th year, he began to purge Judah and Jerusalem from the high places and groves and carved images and the molten images. He was getting rid of all the little Canaanite culture and all that stuff that done snuck in, because I could show you that them folks, the people that was placed in our land, the Sepharvims, the Sephardies, when they was placed in our land, that King Hezekiah, King Josiah's great grandfather was just so happy to get us all to Jerusalem to try to do our culture and our law. That he ain't care who came, just long as everybody came to the Passover. And guess who came to the Passover? Those Sepharvims, the strangers in Israel. They came to the Passover dinner, and they had only been there for 7 years. Let me show this real quick too, when I'm talking about it. If you go to Second Chronicles 30, and then if you read Second Chronicles 30, this is dealing with King Hezekiah. You'll see that he had all the tribes there. So this get rid of that 10 lost tribe myth too. But as you get down to Second Chronicles 30 verse 25, you'll see all the congregation of Judah with the priests and the Levites and all the congregation that come out of Israel, and the strangers that come out of the land of Israel that dwelt in Judah rejoice. So them people, those Sephardies, the Sepharvims, the Sephardi Jews came to Jerusalem to do the Passover with us, and they was happy. Yeah, they was happy. They was happy. Because now they being seen as us. You see what I'm saying? And they being seen as us, and they don't care. And we done let them in. All right? So then when you get to King Josiah, then he gonna clean up the whole Israel with them people in it, meaning that they stopped doing their practices during the time of King Josiah, and then they lay low. You see, they lay low till the Egyptians kill him, and then put us on the Egyptian religion, and then we go back into Africa, and then they got our whole heritage. You see that slick move they pulled? It was real slick. And the Egyptians helped them. That's why come when this country fall and anybody talking about worship some Egyptian stuff, they're going to be in trouble. They're going to be in some serious trouble, because they getting their warnings now. You know what I'm saying? We getting our warnings now. I'm showing you that the Egyptian culture destroyed us along with their kindreds, the Babylonians. We were supposed to destroy their culture. That's why the Creator gave us a culture that was different from both of theirs, from the Egyptian and the Babylonian culture. He said don't do the Egyptian culture or the Canaanite culture. And the Canaanite culture stand for Babylon. All right. Josiah was 8 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned in Jerusalem 31 years, and he did that which was right in the sight of the Elohim, and walked in the way of David his father, and declined neither to the right hand nor to the left. For in the 8th year of his reign, while he was yet young, he began to seek after the Yah of David his father, and in the 12th year he began to purge Judah and Jerusalem from the high places, and the groves, and the carved images, and the molten images, and they break down the altars of Balaam in his presence. And you know what I'm saying, that's going to be that Amorite stuff. In the image that were on high above them he cut down, and the groves and the carved images and the molten images he brake in pieces, and made dust of them, and strode it upon the graves of them that had sacrificed unto them. And he burnt the bones of the priests upon their altar, and cleansed Judah and Jerusalem. And so did he in the cities of Manasseh, Ephraim, Simon, even unto Naphtali, with their buttocks round about. And when he had broken down the altar in the groves, and had beaten the groves in images into powder, and cut down all the idols throughout all the land of Israel, he returned to Jerusalem. All right. So then, as you get to reading, you know what I'm saying, and then you get to the you know what I'm saying, get to his, you know what I'm saying, the end. All right. And Josiah took away all the abominations out of all the countries that pertained to the children of Israel, and made all that was present in Israel to serve, even to serve the Elohim their Yah. In all his days they departed not from following the Elohim their Yah of their fathers. So during King Josiah time, those Sephardi's, those Edomites doing our heritage then, because King Josiah cleaned up all the abomination, and there wasn't nothing left but to do what Moses gave us, because that's all he was pushing. And then if you push anything besides that, then you probably would have got your head cut off. More than likely, you would have got your head cut off, because he wasn't playing. King Josiah wasn't playing. All right. So after the Egyptians killed him, the Egyptians would come out and kill King Josiah 31 years on the reign. Then they come killing. That's gonna make them folks happy. They gonna be real happy. And then they gonna put us on the Egyptian religion the Egyptians did. And then that's gonna be the whole book of Jeremiah. That's what the whole book of Jeremiah is talking about. That's the issue. Hey y'all, it's over with is what he's saying. It's over with. It's over with. You know what I'm saying? And then as you read, all right, the words of Jeremiah the son of Hilkiah, the priest that were in Anath in the land of Benjamin, to whom the word of the Elohim came in the days of Josiah the son of Amon, king of Judah, in the 13th year of his reign. It came also in the days of Jehoiakim the son of Josiah, king of Judah, unto the end of the 11th year of Zedekiah the son of Josiah, king of Judah, unto the carrying away of Jerusalem captive. All right. When that happened, when the Babylonians came, the Creator basically told us, you know, that's what the book of Habakkuk is about. That it was over with. He even called for Ashkenazi to come get us. That's what that whole book is about. The horsemen and bow. I got all kind of videos talking about Ashkenazi and how they came into the land. You know, this video is about the Babylonian Scribes and how they got the power to change history up by words, and them associating words that don't belong with this group under this name, and how they got the power to change it around. But we got the power to change it back around, because all we got to do is don't believe in nothing they say. You can't believe in nothing they say. That's like the Creator was telling us, don't fool with them and to destroy them. Well, destroying them is basically not believing in what they say and don't worship what they worship. You see what I'm saying? That's like they created that God Son myth. You know what I'm saying? That God Son myth. They are responsible for that. I got videos explaining New Testament history also. But okay, when them people, when those wicked Egyptians come out and kill King Josiah for cleaning up that Egyptian religion that Jeroboam had put on us, that was on us all the way from 931 BC to King Josiah cleaned it up. And then they come out and kill King Josiah, and then the Scythians, Ashkenazi, put up on them horses with them body parts on them horses. I got videos explaining the body parts, how Ashkenazi rode around with their victims, people that they done killed, that they tie their body parts on their horses and ride with them. And they pulled up with about 50, 100 different people tied to their horses, and we seen all the people. We didn't want to be tied to their horses, so we got on down. We was afraid of the Chaldeans, and I'm gonna show this, us saying it too. You know, them folks had them old hats that the clans were, you know, that was their favorite type of hat. that old pointed hat that be on the clan's head, that's what they wore. And they also had animal skins, bear skins on. They came all kind of ways, all kind of stuff to come get us up off the land. All right, if you go to Second Kings, I almost turned to it. There we go. Second Kings, chapter 25, verse 26. And all the people, both small and great, and the captains of the armies arose and came to Egypt, for they were afraid of the Chaldeans. Yeah, we was afraid of them folks, because when them folks come to get us, the Creator sent the worst of the worst. And this what made us get up off the land, because we said this. This is what we said. All right. We was going off into Egypt. Them folks was coming, and they done took some of us off, 1% off, and the poor folks, you know what I'm saying? Everybody had to get on down, and then we got on up in Egypt, and on the way there, Prophet Jeremiah caught up with us, and then all the men which knew that their wives, this is chapter 44, verse 15, 16, 17, and 18, which was a state of mind. Then all the men which knew that their wives had burnt incense unto other gods, and all the women that stood by, a great multitude, even all the people that dwell in the land of Egypt and Pathros, answered Jeremiah, saying, As for the word that thou hast spoken unto us in the name of the Elohim, we will not hearken unto thee, but we will certainly do so whatever thing go forth out of our own mouth, to burn incense unto the Queen of Heaven, and to pour out drink offerings unto her, as we have done, we and our fathers, our kings, our princes, in the cities of Judah and in the streets of Jerusalem. For then had we plenty of food, and were well, and saw no evil. But since we left off to burn incense to the Queen of Heaven, and to pour drink offerings unto her, we have wanted all things, and have been consumed by the sword and by famine. We was all messed up. If you go to Ezekiel 23, it's got to be chapter 23. All right, 23, you're going to see that we was messed up on the Egyptian religion for a long time. The word of the Elohim came unto me, saying, Son of man, there were two women, the daughter of one mother, and they committed whoredoms in Egypt. They committed whoredoms in their youth. There were their breasts pressed, and there they bruised the tents of their virginity. See what I'm saying? So that happened to us. And being a whoredom, meaning that we worship the Creator only from our father Jacob, because that's all we knew. From Abraham, Isaac to Jacob, to follow the Creator. We didn't have the laws, but we knew not to believe in that Egyptian stuff. And then we go into Egypt and we get turned out by them. And I can show you plenty times how we wanted to go back to Egypt. Plenty times how we wanted to go back to Egypt. And how we said that it was better for us in Egypt if we was there. You know what I'm saying? And having that type of mentality, we went back to Egypt, Africa. And us being, going there. And then when Nebuchadnezzar and them come in, and then we went deep into the Sahara, man, it was over with. And to show you that them people that never come back, that say that they was going in there to worship the Queen of Heaven, which is the 99%, you got the book of Ezra. You got the book of Nehemiah. You got Haggai, Zechariah, Malachi. Those 5 prophets covered the Babylonian captivity when they come back. And they didn't record the Queen of Heaven worshipers coming back out to be reunited with them. We are them. We are them. And I got videos showing that the exiles were destroyed because they started to mix with them folks. They got cut off so fast by the Greeks. And then the Greeks come in and destroy them real fast. All right. This is us saying we wanted to go back to Egypt. Wherefore had the Elohim brought us out of this land to fall by the sword, that our wives and our children should be a prey. Were it not better for us to return to Egypt? And they said one to another, Let us make a captain, and let us return to Egypt. All right. If you go to the book of Jeremiah, just before we told him that we was finna worship the Queen of Heaven, and we don't care what he say, and that how we was going back into Africa to live and stay. We even told the prophet Jeremiah that we was going there, and ain't nothing he can say. And we said that the Creator didn't say not to go into Egypt, and that we can go there. And that was sealing our faith, like I showed from the beginning, how Pharaoh planted the seed by giving Joseph Asenath. That was bringing us down. Pharaoh was real slick and smart. But if you read Jeremiah 42, that's why I say it's real important to read the book of Jeremiah. You'll see how we played with the Creator and didn't want to do right, and how we sent the prophet Jeremiah to go to the Creator to ask what we should do, knowing that we was going to go into Egypt. And then after he come back and said that the Creator say sit there, and we said no. The Creator didn't say for us not to go into Egypt. You're saying no, but we will go into the land of Egypt, where we shall see no war, nor hear the sound of the trumpet, nor have hunger of bread. There will we dwell. Well, them people was working in cahoots with them Babylonian scribes, because they are Canaanites, and the Canaanites were Amorites, and the Amorites were from Babylon, and the Amorites are those Sephardi Jews that was placed in our land, that we abandoned our heritage to when we went into Africa for the Egyptian religion. And then them gonna be the people that's Jews. It's like Jew is Jebusite. And them people say that the Israelites is part of the Canaanites and all this stuff. And I didn't show in the scriptures where the Creator told us to get rid of the Canaanites. I could really go into all the verses that show that the Creator say get rid of the Canaanites, so we couldn't be no Canaanites, so the Israelites could never be no Canaanites. But those Sephardi Jews are Canaanites because they are Amorites, and they say that they are the Israelites because we abandoned our heritage to them. When we went into Africa during the Babylonian wars and them people were still there, then they got our whole heritage. That's why when the exiles come back from Babylon, they had such a hard time, and them people did their favorite thing, is to put their women on the exiles and mix them and destroy them. That's why the Greeks come in, and I got history showing that the Ptolemy, the Lycimus, all them was claiming the Hebrew heritage. You got to watch the other videos. I got videos going into this. All right, this is that Amorite Canaanite culture, and also got videos explaining how we only lived in the promised land about 800 years and how we didn't live there long. We only lived in the promised land about 800 years, and we was on the Egyptian Canaanite culture for about almost 600 of those years. We was messed up. And that's why the Creator sent us into this captivity, so we can get an understanding of our enemies and the wickedness that they do. And so we cannot want to be part of that stuff, because we see how all the wickedness that they do ain't helped us, and then destroyed us. So us coming to this Egypt and learning this stuff, we learning the ways of the Canaanite wickedness, the Amorite wickedness, and the stuff that they do. It's the same as Sodom and Gomorrah. America culture is the same as Egypt and Sodom and Gomorrah, and the same as Babylon. It's the same. And we Hebrews abandon our heritage to the Babylonian scribes. That's like I showed how the Amorites are the founders of Babylon. The Amorites are the founders of Babylon, and how the Sephardi groups, whose name is Sephardim, how they came from Sipper, and that's also, I want to show how when they name all the Babylonian cities, where the Sephardims from, you see how these Babylonian scribes is so slick that they named all the cities. You see Nippur right there, but you don't see Sipper. And Nippur is Sipper's twin city. That's his twin city. And you don't see that on there nowhere when they're talking about the Amorites, because if they had put Sipper on there, while they was talking about the Amorites, then Sipper is the word for Sepharvim. You see how them Babylonian scribes do it, and that's how cold and slick they is. And you see how they done took the word Israel and associated with the Jew and say that the Jews are Canaanites and that Israel and the Canaanites are one and the same people. You see how slick they is with them Babylonian scribes. Them the people that's responsible for Western history, for this whole Western civilization in Europe and Americas and everywhere, what's called Western civilization. They the founders of it. And they the founders of it, and we abandon our heritage to them, which put them in a position to be the people who they is, because they done tricked the people into thinking that they the children of Israel, and people look at them as the chosen people. Then they done had the right to do everything, and then consequently that they white looking too, and some of them can pass off as for Caucasians. The white folks been having a ball with this. They've been having a good time with this, and then they allowed the Jews to run rampant and do what they want to because they the chosen people, and then they got administration skills. They got they created all the religions. They done created all this stuff. Everything that's going on in the West, they are the founders and got their hands behind it, even though they got some of the things from us and out our culture and heritage, but they put it on these folks, and you got their version of it. Well, them the people that we abandoned our heritage to during the Babylonian Wars, when we went into Egypt to worship the Egyptian religion from being tricked by them. Okay, Hebrews, we're going to have to wake up, and we can't let these Babylonian scribes dictate nothing. Everything they say is garbage. You can't believe in nothing that they say. None of their history. None of their history. And in order to understand their history, you have to pick the Tanakh up and read it, even though they translate it. But then you can start to understand. But the Israelite Brotherhood is giving you a shortcut to understand. And I know all shortcuts ain't good for you, but this one will help you, because in the end, after you finish doing your research, if you get turned on to this understanding, you're going to see it's coming out the way that I show it. This Israel been Israel for the Israelite Brotherhood.